We're now going to look at Find Goods Received. This can be found in the Supply module under Goods Received and option 329, which is Find Goods Received. The Find Goods Received allows us to view what deliveries we've booked in. It also allows us in this screen to amend deliveries. We can only amend deliveries if the order status says awaiting bill. If somebody has matched up the supplier invoice to the goods received note, then you cannot change it. We can see here in the Find Goods Received, we can search on any of these columns. If I typed 5001, for example, press enter, when we did the goods received and we booked them in, we left the purchase order number in that field originally, then we can search on that purchase order. So that's why I recommend leaving that in. We can also search on the supplier's delivery note number if we've entered it. So if I type 45464, we can see them. If I was to add another 5 on the end of that, then it will only find the 1 and automatically open it up. So what I'm just going to do, I'm going to delete that out and go back to the main list. So this particular GRN number 4, I've been informed by the warehouse that we booked in 10 and we booked in 15. However, when they've checked them, we've actually only received 14. So what we need to do is we need to update our stock to reflect this. So we can see if I just double click on the product code, in stock is 125, on purchase order is 0. We can see the amend option at the top. If I just click amend, it'll say, do you want to amend the purchase receipt? We can say yes. When we amend the GRN, we can see it gives it a GRN 4-1. We then get additional columns in the item grid section. What we can see is we've got the quantity of 10 and the quantity of 15. So what I'm going to do on this one, I'm going to change that to 14. We can see I've just arrowed down and then gone back up so we can see the stock information at the bottom. We can see we had 14, we've got a difference of -1. On this particular GRN, on the original GRN number 4, we received 15. If I save that, what that will do is that will then amend my journal. So we can see it's reversed out the line and it's booked them back in. And if I double click on the item name, we can see here in stock is 124 and on purchase order we've still got the 1 outstanding because technically we should be expecting the supplier to deliver that. What we can see if we go to the transactions tab is we can see we originally received 15 and here it's taken out 1. If I now just refresh that screen, we can see we've got 4-1, which is our amended GRN, and the original GRN will be in the superseded tab. If somebody comes in and says for whatever reason there was something else wrong with that GRN and you need to amend it further, again we can go in. The order status still says awaiting bill, so we can still amend it. Again, if we click amend, we get the same options. Do we want to amend it? We can see here we've got 10, we've got 14. I'm just going to reduce this one down to 9. We can see it wants to take 1 out of stock and the GRN at the top says 4-2. If I save and close, then the same process happens again. We can now see 4-2 and in the superseded tab we can see the 2 GRNs there. If you've booked in a GRN and for whatever reason you've booked in the wrong one and you need to cancel the GRN, then again if we just double click on the GRN, it shows us the items. We have the amend option and again we're going to say yes, we want to amend it. And then what we can do here is just set all of the quantities to 0. We can see down the bottom here it's taken them back out of location 1. And then if we save and close, we can see now GRN1 has completely disappeared out of the list and it is in the superseded one. If we go back to purchase order and find purchase order, which is option 328, we can see here purchase order history, there is nothing in there. This is because all of our purchase orders are either partial or open. If I now just go and book that GRN back in, I'm going to tick PO 5000 and I'm going to save and close it. If we go back to purchase order and find purchase order, we can see purchase order 5,000 is no longer in that screen. If we click on the purchase order history, we can see our PO there. Just one thing to point out, when you amend the GRN, the only thing you can amend is the quantities. You cannot amend any cost prices. If the cost prices are incorrect or they're zero, I would probably recommend just leaving them, because when somebody matches the supplier invoice up, they will correct it at that point. If there is a zero cost, it just means the accrual won't get created, and that side of it will only happen when the supplier invoice is booked in. I'm going to close that now because we've finished with the goods received screen.